Momo at
Oh.
PBS Hawaii.
Sounds like when radio call sign.
Yeah, KOMO.
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 Oh, Roger.
Blah, 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 blah.
I thought of LL Cool J's song.
Okay.
And it's like, don't call it a comeback. I've
Right.
been here for years. And I think this applies to so many folks who are living in Hawaii. Unless you post it on social consistently,
Right.
a few people who are not in your in real life social circles may comment that you disappeared for a minute.
Yeah.
Even people who aren't on social consistently, they just kind of go by their timetable.
Oh, yeah.
But everybody's grinding and working.
Oh, yeah. Even behind the scenes, right? A lot of times behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Before anybody can see anything, you got to work behind the scenes. Always working.
Always
Always
working.
working.
Cabot the Catalyst. You're currently the web guru at PBS Hawaii, former K2H radio host of the Honolulu hip hop show called Light Sleepers. And that aired from 1997 to 2001.
Yes.
Kind of in tandem, a little bit before, a little bit after, you started an apparel line. I want to say with graphic artist designer Spell One. Was he your first main designer,
No,
or was it
actually.
you? Were you the designer?
It was basically my brainchild.
Mm.
And then I kind of just had ideas. I just reached out to people I knew that could execute them better than myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your first?
So it would be the two logos that I've always been running with. So the drip and the script. So the drip
And the
is
script.
done by Koak. Shout out to Koak. He goes by another name now, but Koak. And he's a good friend of mine. And the script was done by Keith at Information. When I did the drip first, I was like, cool, hip hop, right?
Right.
Hip hop, tagging, graffiti. Hey, I like it. Peers. On the other end, I have like family members and other people that just didn't know like what it was, Light Sleepers. The name is weird itself, so it's like, can I create something more friendly? At that time in apparel or streetwear or whatever what it was called, I didn't see too many people doing like a simple, ugly script, kind of like a chunky script,
Okay.
which is basically derived from the skateboard company Chocolate. Skateboard company Chocolate has this great chunky script. And I'm skateboard roots, so I was like, So I contacted Keith from Information, and I was like, hey, man, I want you to make like a Light Sleepers script, like the Chocolate one. So I never deny it. I always tell people. And you know, people never had a problem with it, never called me out like, oh, you're a biter. Because I've always just said, like, I wanted my own chunky chocolate script.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Chunky chocolate script. So then I said, Keith, don't do drafts. Just do one. Whatever you come up with. The first thing you come up with, just do it and send it to me. And that's what happened.
That's chicken skin. It's just like the trust you had, because was that the first person that you thought of to create it?
Because he skated. I skated with him. I met him my first year of college, and we skated together. He was DJing, scratching, doing graffiti, and he's a great skateboarder. And I knew he was a designer too, so I didn't have to explain too much about the aesthetics or the history because he knew where I was coming from. So trusting people in that sense, and that's pretty much what Light Sleepers. It's kind of like the essence of Light Sleepers, right? Being able to like trust people and letting them do their thing under the banner. You can say the umbrella of Light Sleepers. So yeah, I said one take, don't edit. This is what you do. Send it to me. I was like, done. Print. That's it. Same with Koak. I was like, I need a Light Sleepers hand style with drips, because drips kind of got played out. So drips was really big in the 90s. Then it kind of got phased out because everybody was dripping. And I was like, you know what? Let's bring the drips back. Or like, let's put it up in the front again. I said, of course, you need a real graffiti guy to do a graffiti tag. He did it. And I said, I just told him, do it. Send it to me. That's it. Print it. So, I mean, I've been fortunate to have two awesome logos, standard logos, that's been running for over 2 decades, I could say. Yeah. So thank you to Koak and Keith.
That makes me wonder, what were the different monikers or name additions that you considered before you landed with Light Sleepers and you were like, that feels good?
Well, K2H. So as you know, that was my radio show. So I never planned on doing a clothing company. It just was like, I want to make a T-shirt to promote the music we were doing, because we were all actively making beats and DJing and rhyming, doing shows. I was putting on shows. So I was like, you know what? We need a shirt to help promote, because I've always said a shirt is like the biggest form of advertisement, and it lives forever, right? I have a theory on shirts that is pretty good for like forever advertising. Light Sleepers radio show, we need a Light Sleeper shirt. And I didn't expect it to be a brand, but as you know, the time changed. I always say like the bling bling era, P Diddy era. I was like, you know what, the music I'm making is cool for me and my friends, but hey, these shirts are selling. So there was no real other name. It was just the Light Sleepers, the radio show, the Light Sleepers, the events and record label. Hey, let's make more shirts, then hats, socks, shoes, shoes, everything. And then it just kind of it's a natural evolution. It's a natural evolution of creativity. I think we all have within us. You just got to be able to go and explore it.
We're in January 2024. You had started the apparel line. Your last brick and mortar shop was at McCulley and King, and now you can find what you have in stock at lightsleepers.net. And I like that you bring back, occasionally, you'll bring back things, but
We kind of transitioned to lightsleepers.co.
Oh, okay.
Cool. Yeah. I just kind of did that 2023. When I started working for PBS, I was like, you know what? Let's just change it up, you know? .net has been forever because .com got stolen from me. So that's why I had .net, and I had .net forever. So I said, you know what? It's about that time. So when I transitioned to PBS and made PBS my main thing, and Light Sleepers been like my boo thing, I was like, let's change it up, everything. So it's lightsleepers.co, which was open still. Nobody parked it or stole it or pirated it. So I took that, and that's kind of what I'm running with now. Yeah,
it's a good thing I didn't put any graphics yet.
Yeah. Hey.
Okay, so Cavett and DJ Zach Morris, later going by Aaron Sakai, you guys co-hosted a podcast because you had exited from KTUH. You were concentrating on Light Sleepers, the brand apparel. This podcast, Sleep Time's Over, that ran for a bit. You exited to concentrate on Light Sleepers clothing and enjoy more time with your family.
Yes.
Your wife Chelsea and your Keiki. Now teenagers,
son,
Coltrane and Callie.
Callie, yes. Teenage son and preteen daughter.
So your interest and participation in Hawaii's hip hop culture grew with there were a few things that you had either co-founded or founded or hosted. One of them, Beat Roots.
Yes.
I call it like a mini-con for producers, rappers, B-boys, and B-girls. Then there were also showcases and art exhibitions at your shop through the 2010s, right? With tributes that included, not limited to, Jay Dilla, MF Doom, as well as Aaliyah. And that's a thumbnail sketch. I even wrote that. That's a thumbnail sketch. Also, you're a proud graduate of Kamehameha School.
Yes.
Okay, so that's...
Recently proud.
Oh yeah, because your son is a new student.
Yeah, he started going there in 7th grade, right during the beginning of the pandemic.
Yes.
But I graduated from Kamehameha, but I could say that maybe I didn't really grasp the magnitude of graduating from Kamehameha until I was older and more mature. So that's why I say, recently proud. Yeah. I was a public school kid my whole life, and I got in my last shot. You're taking this kid that was expected to go to public school. I was the guy. I was like the hip hop backpacker, baggy size 40 pants, hat to the side, headphone guy, ready to go public school. Got in my 9th grade year. I come in, that same kid. You plop that kid. I come in schools, all hoodied up, and fatigued, and everything, looking around and I can't say Kamehameha has 0 hip hop heads.
That's a big campus, though.
There were a few a little older than me, but nobody that. It felt when I got there, I was literally I stood up like a sore thumb, straight up. And I was cool with it because that's what I loved. So I was like, okay, cool. But eventually, I found my my little tribe, and then hip hop came really cool in the late 90s, mid 90s. So then all of a sudden everybody knew Scenario. Oh my God, everybody knew Black Sheep. Everybody come to me like, Cavett, engine. I was like, what? Okay.
You want to get your attention. Talk about third base.
Oh, yeah. Talk about, for real. But, that Pop Go the Weasel, so, everybody did, which is great, which is cool, but, yeah. So, when I got to Kamehameha, I saw that public school mentality, which is great. I think it gave me my edge, and it allowed me to, operate in both worlds. It taught me how to, survive, I guess you could say. Because private school is one thing, but it was, it's nothing like public school.
What were you listening to on your way here for us to talk story?
Oh, I listen to a lot of sports radio.
Yeah, that's cool.
Sports radio. Actually, this is the KTUH. DJ Ono is on. He's the general manager right now. I got to meet him maybe a couple months ago when we did something for PBS at K2H. And then I usually go listen to the Hawaiian radio. Easy. You know, I tune into mainstream stuff, but it's like I just to keep what's going on, you know, keep an ear to the street. But yo, I listen to sports radio all the time. Who
are your teams?
I like Miami Heat for basketball. I mean, I like individual players, but Miami Heat for basketball because of AC Carter from Hawaii went there. So that became kind of my team. Baseball, it's kind of just players. Anaheim Angels specifically because that was my first Major League Baseball game. And in Hawaii, we don't have teams. So I was like, okay, that's my team. Football is Saints because a lot of people didn't like the Saints. So I was like, oh, let's select the Saints. And I thought the colors were cool when I was a kid. But I technically don't even have a football team. I kind of like players. But UH all day.
Yes.
Across the board.
Alanui Mele.
Yes.
Okay, that's going to be your podcast that you brought to PBS Hawaii while working there.
Yes.
And talk about the name origin and what Alanui Mele is going to be.
Okay. So Alanui Mele, when I found out about 50 years of hip-hop, right, or just heard about it, of course, and I was like, oh, that's cool, you know, 50 years of hip-hop. And then I started watching, like, all these specials, and I was like, man, they don't really cover, they miss a lot. There's a lot missing. It's the same people performing, same thing, and I'm like, you know, Hawaii, we have a rich history in hip-hop. So I was like, is there anything going on for Hawaii, right? And time-consuming, like, you could do an event, right? But, okay, that's cool. That's for 2023. You do the event, it's done. So what about just to, like, have the stories live in prosperity, talk to the people that people don't talk to, hear the experiences, and, you know, go and cover the 4 elements as well as the other people that were involved, you know. One person was like Sean Speedy Lopez, you know. Like, people don't consider him hip-hop in the hip-hop world. I do, because he covered a lot of hip-hop people. And he was there. People don't know Sean Speedy Lopez was there in Kalihi at the B-Boy Jams. He was in the crowd watching. Some things like that. I was like, okay, so what can I do, right? I'm a PBS now, so like I said, I shifted everything from Light Sleepers being number 1. That went down to number 2, and now PBS Hawaii as the web guru, web manager is number 1. So, you know, PBS has a podcast right now called What School You Went with Ron Mizutani, and then Jesse Makadang is the producer. And they cover like all local kind, brada, sister kind stuff. So I was like, maybe I should try and see if I could pitch to them a Hawaii hip-hop history podcast. Because PBS Hawaii is known or good about archiving old stuff, right? Music, history, culture, and we're unearthing it. So we're doing really good. The social media, Chelsea, shout out to Chelsea, social media director at PBS is killing it. She's killing it. Jody, my boss, she's allowing us to like really like get with it. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I could try to pitch a Hawaii hip hop history, right? So I could interview all these people that don't get a voice, that don't have a platform. Pitched it. I wrote a quick 1 page, and then they're like, let's do it. And I'm like, they're like, what are you gonna call it? I was like, I don't know. So I went through all kind of titles, Shaka Beat, you know, like you just going on the gambit, and I was like, I don't know, like should it be like, you know, like Kanaka music, you know, like, I literally did everything, and I was like, let me think, what is hip hop? I said, you know, I was thinking hip hop terms of like East Coast, West Coast slang. I was like, how can we make this Hawaii? Like, okay, what's the Hawaiian word for hip hop? So I was like, that's not happening. And I was just there, you know, and at the same time, I'm trying to, like, you know, just shape the format and, you know, the guests. And I was like, what is hip hop? Like, streets. Wow, hip hop is the streets. Okay, so what's street in Hawaiian? Alanui. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, Alanui. And I was like, music, Mele. Alanui Mele. I was like, so I didn't talk to any kumus. I didn't talk to any authoritarians. I was like, what's most hip hop? You take it and you make it yours. Sampling, what I've been doing for years. Alanui Mele, that's the title. Is it correct in the Hawaiian sphere? I have no idea. Sent it to my boss, they're like, cool. What does it mean? Street music. That's it. Hip hop, street music. Alanui Mele, Hawaii hip hop history. PBS Hawaii.
I can see all the graphics and all the gear, you know, the green signage.
Yeah.
You know.
And I don't usually work in the Hawaii. I don't really touch. I'm a Hawaiian, but I don't really touch that side of it all. But I was like, you know what, nah. Like I said, hip hop, we just take it and we flip it, make it better, we enhance it, we put our twist on it. And I was like, we're not out there yet, but I'm curious, you know. but it's just straight across. You know, it's like when people change the name Frank to Palani. I don't know if that, I think I don't know the translation. But you know how they take Hawaiian words and they just, you know, flip it, throw the English vowels and consonants on it, and it's like sounds the same. America, whatever. I don't know, but yeah, slander, whatever. But yeah, so that's basically the Ala Nui Mele, straight across the board, street music, history of Hawaii hip hop. So PBS Hawaii presents Ala Nui Mele, Hawaii hip hop history.
You made a reference to 2023. It was like the 50-year anniversary of hip hop music. Can you remember the first few names that you're like, oh, I got to have this person, versus like who you've gotten in the can already?
Yeah.
Who were the first people that just kind of came to your mind that would be, oh, it would be great to talk to these people?
Yeah, we just did an interview with Skilroy, and it was on Homies Here, which is a broadcast and online local show, kind of like a Hawaiian moving company. Skilroy's interview went off well, so that was kind of a good catalyst for like me even thinking, you know, when they interviewed Skilroy and they did something about 808 Breakers, but that Skilroy piece. Shout out to John Jenks on doing that. That was kind of like, oh, I need Skilroy. I mean, who doesn't need Skilroy? Dude is like, you know, young at heart. He looks young. But he's like 50 something. He's killing it. So I was like, I need Skilroy was the first one because we already dealt with him, right? And then of course Jimmy Taco. He's been really good at staying relevant throughout the years. Different graffiti guys, like I Want to Get Catch, you know, because he's pretty elusive. A lot of radio DJs, you know. I'll just say some of the people we have in the can is we have Prime, founder of 808 Urban. Him, then we got Tasho coming up, so I have to still get Tasho in, but he's going to be there. Spaz as well. I'm trying to work on the ground roots of it all. There's so many roots in Hawaii hip-hop that cross over so many genres. Sean Speedy Lopez, Danny One from Homegrown Massive, High State, which is unsung hero in my book. It might not be the most attractive name to the mainstream like Taco is. I mean, just rightfully so. But I feel like he needs to be heard. I feel like this kind of like Danny One is like was a good pillar in the 90s for production and bringing crews together. So, and then Jamal, Kilowatts the Monk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Jamal might have been like, well, Skilroy, Taco, and Jamal was my first kind of three. Yeah, especially Jamal. Yeah,
he's got some story. I mean, everybody's got their stories and their influences, but he's been floating around. I mean, like, he floats around with various pockets of the scene.
Yeah, he's kind of like Skilroy, man. Those guys are been relevant, and and Taco as well. You know, within the hip hop scene, you know, the hardcore hip hop scene, or the core hip hop scene for decades now.
Like forever hip hop is
forever hip hop. Yeah, you call it that, forever hip hop. They've been in it forever. You know, Always Shoulder Sport. One thing good about those three names, or a lot of the names, is they've never gatekeeped hip hop in Hawaii. They've never excluded. I can say Danny One. That's one of the reasons why I picked Danny One and Jamal to make sure to be on the first season, I guess you could say. Those two guys welcomed me and my crew in to Hawaii hip hop when we first started showing up at KTUH and at Radio Free and events. Like Jamal invited me to Cafe Valentino's in Waikiki, which, you know, I was like just graduate high school. Like, what is Cafe Valentino's? Who are all these people? Oh my God, Hawaii hip hop is killing it. I did not know who any of these people were, right? Because they're a little older, you know, anywhere 3, 4, 5, 6 years older than us. So I was just like, wow. So Jamal and Danny One were the first to welcome myself and my crew in. And like, kind of like literally, like I remember when I first met them, they literally, like at KTUH, before I was even on the radio, just kind of explained to me. Like they're just talking like, yeah, this is this, that's that, this is who it is. Oh, what are you guys doing after this? You should come down to here. And so I never forget that. Yeah.
You know, I really want to do a podcast with the people who listen to Radio Free Hawaii. And I would get feedback like, oh, nobody would be interested. I'm like, I'm interested.
I think people would be interested.
And it's just like, how did you find Radio Free Hawaii? Why did you continue and like voting? And because I just remember like the kids were just so emotionally invested. They really felt like it was theirs.
Yeah, we did, definitely. Radio Free Hawaii was like groundbreaking, game-changing, right? Before I even thought about radio, asked to do radio, knew anything about radio. Turn on the station and literally let your ballot, you know, go down to Jelly's ballot, pop it in, and there it is. Call up. I need a song. Play the song, and exposed me to so much music that I never would see. Skateboarding introduced me to a lot of punk, indie, metal, things that skateboarding in the 80s represented musically wise, and then it started the 90s. So Radio Free Music kind of just encapsulated all these different subcultures and it exposed you to all this music. So you'd have the De La Soul, you know, right next to like Screeching Weasel or something, you know, and like, and it's like, what, dude, like, what is that, right? And like, you listen to it and then you go out and buy the record, and it was great. And I had Static Show on there, and, you know, Norm and you and Speedy and Muhammad, and I think it was such a game-changing thing, you know. And I can say now when I think about it, I'm talking to you, like, that might have been one of the factors why when Lord Said, that used to be the GM at KTUH, hit me up to do radio, I said yes, because he told me, oh, yeah, you can play whatever you want. And I remember in my head, I'm like, oh, kind of like Radio Free. Bet, I'm down. But yeah, it was great. And it trips me out that I can actually call you my friend and Sean my friend. And I'm like, oh, my God, I listen to these guys and they're like my friends and call them up, you know. And I got to say, Sean's interview for my podcast is awesome. It's one of the best because the perspective that he gives is like golden. Like, he reported on so many people, but the fact that he was there. Usually we want the people that are there, right? We want the Skilroys, you know, we want the Tacos, DJing, right? But what about the, like you said, what about the people that are listening to Radio Free? So what about the people that weren't the B-boys or weren't the MCs, DJs, graffiti writers that was in the culture? We forget about the people that participated, that spent the money, took the time to be there. And if we don't give them hear what they had to say, then none of this would be, none of us would be here, because without them, we're not here. Without Sean Speedy Lopez, they're technically without all the Sean Speedy Lopez's in the cipher that paid to get into that B-boy event, no one would know who Skilroy was, because it'd be only just the B-boys that knew each other. Well, yeah, we are. So you need those people, those not even fringe, the fans, the people that appreciate the culture. So that's why I was like, oh, I can't wait for the Sean Speedy Lopez interview. No disrespect to everybody else, but the angle, nobody, I feel like nobody really approached that angle of hip-hop history. A lot of people just want the bangers, want the big names, right? That's why hip-hop, 50 hip-hop, yeah, LL Cool J, Run DMC, but hey, there's a lot of people that, like, you know, Atmosphere, these guys that held, that blew up Minnesota and all these small, you know, Midwest. What about those guys? Those guys that were the fans and the participants now become the producers of the music that perpetuated the hip-hop when hip-hop was dead in the 2000s. When good hip-hop was dead, they forgot about all those people. And they forgot about the DJs and the graffiti writers. It was just a typical name. So that's why I looked at it like, you know, I need to bring in people that were there or can offer a great perspective on Hawaii hip-hop. You know what I mean? That can validate the stories that Taco and, you know, and Skilroy and Kilowatts and stuff like that. You know, James Cole, right? Because James Cole was here on this radio and then Sean was here, right? So two spectrums. And I think that's great because it'll bring a more fuller story on the podcasts, and it'll just, you know, archive the stories that help just there for the future generations.
I'm so glad that you're doing that. You're tasked with doing that. They said yes, and you're like, oh, where do I begin?
You know, it's, you know, I'm like, it's one of those things where I'm waiting for someone to do it, right? So I'm like doing my life, doing like sleepers, you know, doing my events, you know. I'm like, oh, man, looking, waiting. Like, I'm never one to pass up an opportunity. I'm not going to force the issue. When I send in my idea to my bosses and they say yes, I guess it's on. And who better than me, I guess, right? I mean, I've always been perpetuating Hawaii hip-hop, you know what I mean? And always respected anybody in the scene from the most mainstream to the most underground, you know. Of course, I'm the underground guy, but the respect from the people that are more visible and exposed and mainstream, we've always have mutual, you know, respect for each other, which is pretty awesome because I'm pretty opinionated. So the fact that they understood, no, that's why I knew, like, you know, I need to, like, open up the way I think. Like, I can be the opinionated underground hip-hop independent Cavett, right? But I need to understand that, like, there's people out there. Without those guys, there is no underground. You can't just have one. There's always got to be work, which I get it because in my head, I'm like, oh, my God, I think I dissed this guy. But they would see me and show me love, and I was like, oh, shoot, dude, like, dick, like, I feel like, oh man, like, what did I do? Like, no, what did I do? I'm like, ooh, maybe I should watch my words. You know, it's just you know, because it's a job. It's a job to them, right? It's like that's the position they're placed in the sphere of Hawaii hip hop. So I got to understand, like, okay, I get it, but that comes with maturity.
And it works out because the more people hopefully, if the more people hear stories, then they'll, if they care enough, they'll find out about the origins and their influences. So the story continues.
Yes.
People continue to learn
And
more.
I'm a show and prove guy, right? Hip hop is always action. So if you don't take action, then you can't really say anything. You really have no say or no skin in the game, right? So all these people are like, oh, it's better back in the day. But I'm like, dude, you can say it, but if you don't show it or do some kind of something to allow the youth or the next generation to experience it, like they could never experience Radio Free, but they could listen to the ones that are on YouTube, right? But they don't know it's there because nobody told them Hawaii had a radio station that was free for listeners to request and whatever they want from the most extreme river. You could play Taylor Swift and Gwar like back to back. And they're like, what the hell? But it works. But they didn't know that. But unless we allow them to discover it, you know what I mean? And have something when they discover it to look back on, then we can't, no one can really say anything. You can just talk all you want, but you need to show and prove. So
I remember being raised up on Brady Bunch reruns,
right,
and like Kikaida reruns and things like that. Now everything is released at the same time.
Yeah.
So first season Fargo is this season Fargo,
Yeah.
So I don't know about history. It's just like, unless they read the timestamp, if they look at the parentheses when it was released kind of things.
Oh, yeah. It's the thing. It's just so much being released, right? It's kind of like today's DJs or a Serato laptop, right? Okay. So me, I'll bring 4 crates of records. I spin only vinyl because that's just what I do. You want me, pay for it, I'll pay vinyl, right? But that's why I hardly get gigs, but the gigs I get are great. Spin only records. I have 4 crates of records. So I have only technically 70 times 4, 280 records. And you times that by if it's a single or LP, right? I might have anywhere from 400 to 700 songs available to play for a 3-4 hour span. You have DJs with a laptop with hundreds of thousands of songs, but they still play the same stuff, right? So it's like... But
well, they can hide their hoarding by having it digital.
Yeah.
I think that's the upside these days.
Yeah, I forget what my twist was with that one. Availability, so they have a laptop with everything on it, every genre, everything, right? But people only want to hear certain things, like the cream will rise to the top. So that's why all the same things are played. So with the vinyl, I got all the cream, right? So that's with us. Like we release all this content, and it's good content or it's good programming, good whatever. Eventually, it will find its way, what I mean? And it'll be in the rotation. It just takes time, you know what I mean? Because there's so much junk out there.
Keywords.
Yeah, keywords.
Your interests are in no particular order: family, sports, UH sports, music, hip-hop culture, your faith, shoes, skateboarding, MCs, beats, Hawaiian music.
Yeah.
What's your dream plate lunch?
Oh, dream plate lunch. Okay. I always like a good hamburger steak. And so it'd be like a Wagyu hamburger steak with a really good gravy with some onions, grilled onions, maybe some garlic sprinkled in there, and a piece of kalbi with 2 scoops rice, and maybe mac salad, maybe a potato mac salad. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so it'd be a Wagyu, a Wagyu hamburger steak, 1 fat patty with thick, rich gravy, grilled onions and garlic with 2 scoops of rice, maybe like 2 pieces of kalbi, and a mac salad.
What kind of gravy is it? White or brown gravy?
Brown gravy. Yes.
Does this exist anywhere?
No, but I mean, you could make it.
Yeah,
I'm
that could be
sure.
the Cavett special.
Hey, once I ate a Wagyu hamburger steak, I was like, wow. And you could get Cavett, it could be the Catalyst Special +1, and you could add an egg on it. So anybody out there that does Wagyu hamburger steak and kalbi, I will say it'll be a hit. So you do a Catalyst Special and then call it the Catalyst Special +1, which would be with an egg. I think it'd be a hit.
What would be the beverage?
If you make a special beverage, I've been really into like water, sparkling water, because my wife You know what it is? It goes down good with everything. I feel like when you don't drink soda. I mean, I drink soda my whole life, so like soda is real picky, right? Like I don't know, it's kind of weird saying it, but like a good like carbonated sparkling water, like it cleanses the palate. Like water is good, but with the extra carbonation, it kind of just kind of
the harkless.
Yeah. It's like you take a bite. It's just, I was never into it at all. My wife always drinks it. Look, no calories. Like with the taste of tangerines. So I was like, and it's way healthier than soda, right? So I was like, yeah. So I mean, it's kind of weird that I'm saying that would be my beverage, but that would be the beverage, I think. Yeah.
Shout out Chelsea.
Yeah. Hey, I'm drinking sparkling waters, and
she's so proud of you right now.
Yeah. But I just thought about health wise. Like sometimes when I want a pizza, like Pepsi, right? Like soda, and I say, oh no, I should change it up. Small changes in long durations, long life. Yeah.
Inertia, 2024.
Yes.
It's happening January 27, 2024 at 1318 South Beretania from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Yes.
1318 South Beretania. What is there?
So,
and then my stomach's growling.
Oh,
I see that Wagyu.
I did the job. Yes, I did the job. Oh, that's so awesome. See, we need to find someone that makes it. Because look, we're just talking about it. And it's like, oh, yeah. I mean, I could eat that right now. Inertia, I've been doing this since like 2004, right? So it went pretty consistent. And then, as I opened the shop, I kind of slowed down doing beetroot. So I always felt like, if I wasn't doing Inertia is a b-boy battle, strictly b-boy battle. Okay. No all styles, just straight b-boy. Kind of slowed down because I was doing the beetroots and doing my shop. And so I felt like in 2024, I need to bring it back one last time because it's 20 years and just kind of encapsulate it as like we did it, right? The way we do Inertia is we try to celebrate all four elements. Even though the b-boying is the focus, we try to have like a black book battle for all the writers. We try to have an open mic. We try to have, like some kind of like live graffiti and, like let the DJs get cut a little bit, Venues are so hard to find, and I really wanted the last one to have live painting, like on walls. We've had it like, you bring out the boards. I'm like, we need walls, we need walls. And I fished it out there. That's one thing about like social media. You just throw it out there. Like, anybody know. So my friend called me back. Shout out to Jesse. He's like, hey, Cavett, you ever talk to Beer Lab? They just posted. They got a new location on Beretania, and it has walls. And they took a picture. I was like, oh, my God. The instant message on IG, and Nick, one of the owners of Beer Lab, got back to me. Super cool guy. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, no way. I was like, I want to paint your walls. Like the walls, and it's like 100 feet on the inside, and it's like 200 feet on the outside. But we're only doing the inside. And he's like, yeah, let's do it, man. I said, yeah, this is going to be, I want to do free for the public. It's going to have breakdancing. It's going to have DJs. It's going to have live art. You know what I mean? And I want it to be like a jam, like how I go to the mainland. It has all the elements. I want be family friendly. It's just hard to find great partnerships and people that are willing to, take on like something like Inertia and hip hop and really give us free reign, out of respect for his business. And so he opened up his brand new home, which is his business, and I hope we can, work together on this one. And then we have another one planned in summer, that's going to be way more art focused. So that's where it's going to be at. Yeah. So I'm excited because it's going to be the last one to encapsulate the last of the b-boy battles. And we're going to just change the format to do more art and graffiti instead. Cause now that we got the walls, so, I really want to do like Hawaii's like first graffiti focused jam. So it's like just flipping it, right? Instead of breakdancing, we're going to still have b-boy battles, but it's just going to be the art side of it all, which never really been done in Hawaii, the way that I'm going to do it, the way that we're going to do it, which is really graffiti focused, which is like the roots of hip hop and Hawaii.
The co-sponsors with the event.
So yeah, Beer Lab, of course, is our number one sponsor. HawaiiHipHop.com, which is Clark. The information is definitely one of the sponsors. Light Sleepers. I'm drawing blank right now.
What's the social handle
for the event?
Inertia 2024?
Inertia, just go at Light Sleepers. Everything's Light Sleepers. Okay. And at Beer Lab. Beer Lab High. But Light Sleepers has everything. That's gonna, if you want to help, if you want to volunteer, sponsors. I mean, we always need monetary sponsors, that's because it's free. So shout out to all the DJs, MCs, writers, Beer Lab, anybody volunteering. We have a couple booths that people are, paying for. So because it's free, we're trying to find ways to like, pay for the floor, pay for the trophy, pay for all the little things that come with running an event. But I really wanted to make it free and open to the public and let people just come as you please, which is good because hip hop's 50. I'm almost 50. A lot of people that, they like beer, they like hip hop, right? They can bring their kids, that's where it's at.
Yeah.
You bring your kids and nothing to do, but guess what? You can have yourself a Light Sleeper Beer Lab collaboration beer that day and sit down, let your kids break dance, spray paint, any kind of stuff. So,
21 and over responsibly.
yes, very much.
Okay. How's the parking? It's all street parking.
Street parking and Times is next door, Gracie's, like Gracie's Inn. Yeah, it's right there, right next door.
So it's on the Melka side.
Yep. And Harbor's Vintage is right across the street.
Who are your current favorite producers and music makers, the ones you reach for in your personal library? And it could be new, old, in between, yeah. Just your current. It's just like in 2024, this is just kind of
Like
in your rotation.
Like beats wise, like
Current
production.
favorite producers and music makers.
Ooh,
Good fun, yeah? I love these kind.
What's funny is like the music I make, and I still make music, I just don't put it out at all. I mean, occasionally I'll just drop a random like beat thing. It's kind of funny how I came back around on guys like myself who've just been making what we feel is hip hop or beats, in general. Like it wasn't really experimenting, we just did it, right? So, like boom bap, right? That typical boom bap formula. But now there's producers that are younger, like maybe half my age, that are doing it, and they're getting like a lot of love and placement. And I love that, you know what I mean? So in that vein, it would be like this one producer named Future Wave, which I thought was like a rave producer. His stuff is so dope. And the thing is, it's like it's in the vein of the '90s boom bap, but it's not. They did the elevation and they made it their own. Like, people would be like, oh, it sounds like. It's like, nah. If you know 90s hip hop, this is not it, but it gives that same feeling. So Future Wave would be one. The Conductor. The Conductor is his name. He has a super sweet like tag. He goes, The Conductor. Like, we have a problem. It's like a sample, but he's super sick. So, and they deal with a lot of these grimy rappers, which is funny because I used to make fun of like all the Dipset rappers, 50 Cent, all that stuff like that. But these guys rapping is like the sons of these guys. But just the way, like I said, just the way that these younger guys are delivering lyrically the streets is something that I appreciate. Like, and there's a name for it now. It's like called connoisseur rap, like lo-fi, which is basically hip hop beats, grimy hip hop beats, which basically everybody from the '90s knew we made lo-fi. And I go back on the archives, I'm like, oh my god, this is lo-fi. But we just made beats. So like this whole wave of connoisseur rap, is like younger kids from the streets, kind of like sons of Mobb Deep kind of deal, grandsons of Mobb Deep and 50 Cent and Dipset and all that grimy stuff. But then something about the way that they present the raps and the way they lyrically make the words, and I don't know, I never because I don't really like a lot of that 90s street stuff, that thug music. It's not really my thing. For some reason, the way they deliver with the beats that they're on with Future Wave and the Conductor and all these other guys, like, ooh, something's different about this, and even though I'm older, it's like, they got something like, this is amazing. So, but one artist I really like is Droog, Your Old Droog. He's a Jewish rapper from New York. His wordplay and metaphors and the way he delivers his rhymes is like, what? Feels like Doom, kind of. Yeah, but everybody says he sounds like Nas.
That is an interesting combination.
It is. And like when I first heard him, I'm like, yeah, it does sound like Nas. And people are like, oh, I don't like him because he sounds like Nas. I'm like, nah, you gotta listen to it. You need to keep listening to it. Like how everybody said Action Bronson sounds like Ghostface Killer. And I totally 100% believe, yeah, he does sound like it. And he still sounds like it. But it's to a point where the more you listen to him, the more you can differentiate, A lot of times because we're fans, we're going to ride for our OGs, right? You're whack. Like you sound like so-and-so. But I feel like the longer you do something, the more that people will respect it, you know what I mean? Because you're coming from a place of genuine can't help it that you sound like Nas. No one wakes up and be like, I'm a rap. Oh, well, and I'm going to sound like Nas. But we take from it, right?
Yeah.
We imitation is the best form of flattery. So, like, when I growing up, I wanted to be, like, produced like Pete Rock, you know, I want to rap like Q-Tip. You know what I mean? I want to style like The Fellowship. So we all did it, right? But my voice-wise, no one wakes up and says, I want to make my voice sound exactly like Nas, sound like Action Bronson. So to that point, that Droog is one of the guys I always listening to. And he's from New York, and it just bars is, he got some like intertwined stuff that it's like the kind of rapper that you listen to once, you heard something. You might have heard that song 50 million times. You listen to it again, you're like, what? Did he just say that? Like, how did I not pick that up? And you're smiling in the car, like, yeah, that's so, what? And that kind of stuff, those kind of guys that make beats, that kind of guy that raps still keeps me, like, young and in the game, you know? Keeps me sharp and me like, yeah, I can still do this. Not on that level where I want to, like, you know, but it's like, it makes me still want to make beats and, you know, rhyme and do all the hip-hop stuff, you know what I mean? Just that kind of stuff that inspires me. So a lot of the music that I listen to, like those 3 artists that I said, they still inspire me, you know, and they're like half my age, so which is great.
I like that. One thing I love about just music across all genres is when you hear something and you want to own it, so you buy it just so you can keep listening to it, you know, kind of thing. I remember songs from small kid time, and I'll hear it now, and I'm like, I get transported to 7th grade. I get transported to like when I was 27. Yeah, small kid time. That was years ago. That's why.
That was maybe like 5 years ago.
It was a long time ago. But it's exciting. It's like I was like looking through my albums, and there was a vinyl reissue that was like, I'm like, oh, I remember it was in 2008. I just got excited just looking at the cover, and I like open up the gateway sleeve, and I'm like, man. And so it just kind of put me in a mind space where I know that you love music, so that kind of prepared me to have our talk. I mean, I have a million
different ones. I just can't think of them right now. Yeah, artists and rappers. But like I said, like when you have that feeling of you hear something, or even you hold it with like records, and it puts you places, and it makes you feel a certain way. But there's like another level where, like for myself, or like even like you, right? Like then it makes me want to create. Like, oh, that's how you know music is moving you. When you're like, oh, I want to like freestyle right now. I want to just go in my car and play a beat and rhyme because I heard this guy like, oh my God, that beat was amazing, right? I need to go and dig for records and like make a beat, like, and that's like boom, boom, like, you know, it hits you like so much, and that's how you know music. That music is great because it's like it just keeps hitting you at different levels, right? And when you create that thing and you realize, oh, it wasn't as good as what you heard, you're laughing like, oh, that's cool, but hey, but you never know what might come out of it. But like, I mean, I totally understand that feeling of records and like hearing music and making you feel, put you, transport. That's the best. That's why music. That's why I love music. You know, that's why I love hip hop, because it always brings me back to a better time. Not really better time, just a good time, a fun time. Simpler. It was way simpler. And real quick example was I seen one of I think the best performance that I've seen in the 50 years of hip hop history they had last year was Run DMC.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know where specifically this one was at, and I think they went on before Rakim or LL Cool J. I don't know what it is, but because then I think LL Cool J had a tour, and then but then something about when they performed, and I'm like, I just felt it like, holy, like this is hip hop. Like made me feel like, yeah. I mean, I was like watching it and like seeing all the lyrics, and like I was like, dude, these guys are like 70, I swear, like, but they're killing it, crushing it, like, and the beats and the rhymes is just like, wow, like that's hip hop. That was hip hop. I'm trying to find that. I can't find that specific, because I looked at, you know, there's so many of their performances throughout the whole year. I can't find that specific one. I'm looking for it. It's just something about that performance was like, it's like they just gave it everything they got, and they murdered it. They murdered it harder than any other. Yeah, that stage was packed with superstars. But Run DMC just like.
Which songs come to mind that you wish would never end? For me, I was thinking about when I was thinking like Sting's "Fragile" into Peter Moon's "Far Too Wide." Like if that could loop together, I think that would be really pretty.
This is too deep for me. I can't think like that. I can't.
But is there a song that
Okay,
like
okay. Oh wow. Oh, I know there's on the tip of my tongue. I know there's like some. I know I can. There's songs that I'm like, oh. I'm thinking Guns N' Roses, November Rain. Not. It's a random one. The beginning is long. Let's make the ending even longer.
like Smashing Pumpkins, Drown?
Yeah, let's how we just add it. Yeah, make it go into Drown and like it'd be one big song. I mean, I don't know why that. Maybe because it's rain outside, but I don't know. I love Guns N' Roses though. But I mean, well, there's a Scenario remix from Tribe. I mean, it's just, I feel like every time I say Tribe, it's just like everybody says Tribe. But
Scenario of all the choices out there. I mean, that is like a great act to
remix,
pull
though.
from.
The remix though.
Which remix?
The one with Kid Hood at the front, and then Fife, because Kid Hood passed and Fife passed. But that one, I feel like, you know, it'd been dope to be a little longer. You know what I mean? Just because the energy it brought is different from the regular remix. I mean, that's such a bad answer I could say because there's so much more music. Like I just think in my head, I wish like it never end. And you know what? Yeah, you know whose music I really like is. I wish that I could have more be longer, like the Shins.
Yeah.
I wish like some of their music was like, hey, I wish it was a little longer. Yeah. This is like, you know, and that comes off from my skateboard roots. Like that kind of music I listen to a lot because it takes me back to skateboarding. Because you know, when I first started in the '80s, a lot of those music was on skateboard videos. A lot of the skateboard guys listen to that kind of more indie music. So that's why my appreciation is deep with that. I buy all the vinyl, you know, and stuff like that. I would say Tribe Called Quest Scenario remix into the Shins Wincing the Night Away or something. I don't know if that's a song, but yeah. No, it's a deep question though. But yeah, I don't know how to
thank you
answer
for
that.
playing. We're all raised up at some point exposed to radio, and it doesn't end.
Yeah,
you know, so that kind of, it's funny the introduction of when we could do our own mixtapes, where at least my generation with the getting the boombox with the cassette player, and just I would like yell at the radio, like tell the DJ to stop talking because I would be afraid of not being able to hit record or pause.
And that is why I usually play the whole song when I DJ and mix the ending. A lot of DJs don't do that because they're playing for the club and they're playing for the next mix, right? They like one verse, then they mix out, right? Which is skills. That's 25, 23, 20 seconds. That's like a 5 to 10 second intro. You know what I mean? 8 bars, 8 to 12 bars, one verse, then you got to, you know, match. Well, no, it's easy, so whatever. But then you mix out to the next one. And that is why, one of the reasons why I never did that. I played majority of the thing. Not because I couldn't mix into the next record. It's because as a consumer, my favorite verse might be the third verse. So I'm thinking, okay, if I'm playing my kind of hip hop and people are hiring me for what I play, if Khavid's in the crowd waiting for the second verse of this Das Avec song or whatever, and I mix out on the first, dude, that sucks. And I've been that guy, like, singing the first verse. Oh, no, that's the best one, the second verse. Oh, like, dang it, give me, what? So when I started being more active, I'm like, I'm playing the whole song.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, you play the whole song.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah. But I've never, you know, what's funny is I've never said it to nobody, why I do it.
Yeah.
Because the way I DJ is just different. I just think about, like, the Khavid in the crowd that wants to hear the third verse, that wants to hear that one ad-lib in the middle. It's just weirdo stuff, like the middle of the second verse, that one like quotable, right? You know, like what happened if you cut off, like, you know, Pasta Noose and De La Soul and every hip hop, everything I say should be a hip hop quotable. Everybody's waiting, you know, you're waiting for that, like, oh man, like, I want to hear that, right? So I felt like, you know, when I started doing, like, no, I'll play the whole thing, right? And that's bad. I guess, you know, as in being a DJ, you know, they like to change the tracks, you know, and flex and stuff like that. Like, no, I just play the whole thing. And sometimes I get caught, right? Because maybe at the end of the third verse, second verse is only like 4 bars out of it. And I have to mix quick 4 bars because I'm too busy enjoying the track. I'm like, oh my God, I got to mix it. And then you just got to do like the simple or do like a little brr. But I mean, it is what it is. But I get caught a lot doing that because because I'm letting the record play. And even though I have it all queued up and ready to like throw it in, like that's the downfall of doing that is like you're so busy. But then I feel like, you know, that's my style.
Yeah.
Of mixing and DJing, and I don't know. I mean, I'm sure other DJs do it out there, but majority of the people that DJ, like I think 80% is all about that quick mix, which is dope, and I think that's an art in itself. And I'm rapping it while I'm singing it, so I'm like, I'm in my feelings, in my like, yeah, oh, I'm the DJ, bam, yeah. So yeah.
Do your wife and kids share your same love of music and artists?
My wife's love of music, she likes to sing, so she sings for our church. She goes hip hop is not her thing. She appreciates it, you know, but she likes all kind of other music. Like she likes more acoustic, soul, you know what I mean, like surfer, guitar, Donovan Frankenreiter, you know, like stuff like that. You know what I mean? My kids are kids, so they're like whatever. It's like when we're kids, you kind of just, you don't really know your place yet, right? You listen to everything, you like what you like, you know? But yeah, so they're not as passionate as me, but they like music, and, you know, I try to expose them. Well, I try to expose them to good music, but a lot of times when dad exposes kids and wife to music he thinks is good, it's not good. So I always don't say anything anymore. Just play it. But what's dope is I got like my nephews and even my daughter, you know, saying like, oh my God, I like MF Doom. I'm like, how? Because they started putting on TikTok the instrumentals and stuff like that. So I'm like, hey, thank you, TikTok. Yay. And they're like, hey, Uncle Calvin has had all these shirts for years. Hey, no, we like your shirts. Like, hey, awesome. So, hey, thanks for TikTok and fast food culture. Like, it worked. Kids are liking MF Doom. So, hey, let's go. And, you know, hopefully that's the gateway drug to good hip hop, you know? So, yeah. But, yeah, the passion for music, my wife is more singing and, like, you know, singing worship music at her church. She's passionate about that. My kids is normal kids, like everything. But I'm, like, on another level.
Because even though we're talking about hip-hop primarily, the sampling that comes with hip-hop music, and it's wild when people find out that many of the artists can actually play drums and guitar and bass, and they're multi-instrumentalists. Like, going back to Beastie Boys, it must have blown people's minds to, like, oh, they're actually playing music.
Yeah.
Playing instruments.
Well, like, you just do the history, right? They had a punk band first, then hip-hop, so then they already had that foundation of, you know, instruments. But what kills me is the closed-mindedness that people think that hardcore hip-hop people only listen to hip-hop. It's like, that's so wrong, because hip-hop was based off every other music. If you look at any hip-hop collection, we have everything, like punk rock, metal, easy listening, you know, every ECM record available in the world because you can sample everything. Like, we have everything, you know, funk, soul, jazz, you know, prog rock, I don't know, in German, classical. Like, it's everything in there, you know? So I always thought, like, people like, oh, you listen to that? I'm like, yes. I'm like, don't get me started. Like, I have you know, my badge of honor is I have the record. What? So you're a fan? But I got the record. I have the record from 1978. You like them? Yeah. Do you have the record? No. So who's the bigger fan? Like, oh, sorry. Who's the bigger fan? I'm not the biggest fan, but guess what? I have the record. I went out and got the record. Might have been because I wanted to sample something. But guess what? That sample finally made me a fan of this band. And now I'm a fan because of that. So it's funny when people, I mean, it's not like anymore, but like, people, oh, you only listen to hip hop, or you only spin hip hop from the 90s. I was like, dude, people still make records. Like, the artists that I've listed, I told you earlier that I like, they all currently make vinyl. And those records are being resold. It's like the reselling of records of all the rappers that are coming out now is ridiculous. So you only spend 90s. Like, nah, man, I still buy records from artists that came out in 2022, 23, 24. If they got it, and I buy it. You know what I mean? I try when I can afford. Yeah. Because I feel like all the years of me bootlegging stuff, you know, downloading, I always support with the record. I always buy the record of all the people. So, you know, I've downloaded like so much music throughout the years. But if I like them, I buy the record, you know, because it's perpetually mine, forever mine. Yeah.
Firsts and favorites. Okay. First, favorite musical artist. For me, it was The Police.
Wow.
Just first. First, that was yours, I guess.
Oh,
You know what I mean? That was yours where kind of blew your mind.
Oh, come on.
But see, I said the police to just give you kind of like a groundwork of like how long ago, you know, it's just like that. That's like from kid time.
I don't even know if it was hip hop. I'm trying to think back. Like what? Like when I was a kid, like, oh yeah, that blew my mind.
When I found out that the Peter Moon Band had all these different songs and it was Peter Moon Band, I'm just like, could they be one of my favorite bands of all time?
Yeah, the Peter Moon Band is a trip because like Peter Moon doesn't sing in hardly anything.
Right.
But he had all these different members like coming through, and it's like, dang, does people understand the greatness of that? Like being the guy, right? He is like the guy. And then on YouTube, there's
the documentary.
Yeah, the documentary in pieces, and I watched it a billion times to see the greatness of. Okay, we can just say Peter. I mean, since we're talking about it, yeah, I could like Peter Moon. You know, I could say Peter Moon definitely because he worked at the Casimeros. Right, and that was like, and then he did Hawaiian, and then he did like, you know, kind of funky soul, you know.
And all the albums that were released under the Peter Moon Band,
right?
It was like listening to the radio. It was just like there was jazz, there was traditional Hawaiian, contemporary Hawaiian, rock. There was an instrumental. Like
I forget the vocalist names and on Cane Fire and all those. We worked with after the Casimeros left or did their own thing. Or
after Sunday Manoa.
Yeah, Sunday Manoa. I still consider under that Peter Moon, right? But like the voice is amazing. I forget his name though. Dang, I should know it though because I watched it so many times. But I mean, you know, on the real, Peter Moon's a lot of the Peter Moon stuff that he did. I wish that could go on forever. Like a lot of that stuff would just kind of melt into the next song. But I mean. I don't know who exactly. I would say third base because they're white and they're rapping in a black man's world. You know what I mean? And that's kind of been my answer for a while. But I think, you know, I really think it was like Freestyle Fellowship. Yeah, I really think that was like because then I felt like that was what I wanted to make, you know. That was the creative wave, right? That kind of like said, yeah, that's what's up. You know? And then a lot of my peers, a lot of people on the West Coast or East Coast, like derived everything from that crew. Good Life, Project Blowed, Freestyle Fellowship. Yeah, they're just next level. I feel like they don't get in this 50 year of hip hop. They don't get no love. They should though. They're probably the greatest group out of the West Coast, arguably. You know, I could argue with somebody on that. I would argue.
Bring your crate out.
I just argue on like everything, styles, production. Individuals, like, you know what I mean? May not be the most mainstream success, but mind-blowing creatives, you know, and that's overlooked. So, yeah. Freestyle Fellowship and Peter Moon.
Locked in the answer.
Lock that in.
Your first 12-inch single, mine, was The Cult's Revolution.
Oh, nice. I wish I had that record. 12-inch single, bought from Jellies. And I bought I want to say it was a Gang Starr single, but I did a bad thing. I switched covers to make it cheaper. Was it Take It Personal? Daily Operation? I think it was one of those records. So, yeah, what you do when you don't have money. I wasn't into stealing. This is kind of stealing. So here's a little trick, kids. So you get the record. Go to the dollar bin. You open the record that costs only $5.99, $4.99. But I didn't have $4.99. I got $1. And I didn't realize how valuable the covers was back then. So I think it was a Daily Operation. Might have been Daily Operation or one of the singles off Daily Operation. I remember getting the record. Oh, I want this record. And then doing the swap. The record cover swap. So I got me a Gang Starr record for $1. And the cover was the $1 record in the cover, and I put it in there. I feel guilty now because but then it's like, oh man, I wanted it so bad, and I did that multiple times, and I'm sure like, you know, the Jellies employees figured it out.
I used to be a Jellies employee.
Yeah, I think you might have been working then. But I did that. I'm guilty 100%. But you know, I feel like I've paid my back taxes on that, I think. what I've done in the done for the culture. So thank you, Jellies. I apologize, Norm and Kathy and everybody that worked at Jellies.
Your first full-length album. My first full-length album, actually, it was a cassette tape. The first thing I bought was Eddie Murphy's Raw or
nice.
Comedian. Is the one with the bus boys in the intro. I want to say it was Raw. It might be Raw or Delirious. I always mix them up.
Oh wow! Well, Delirious was first and Raw, yeah.
Yeah, but it was that cassette. But that was first audio thing.
What is my first full length album? That's a great question. Oh, you know what? I don't know, but I can tell you a story about a full length album that came out, and it's a good story. I think it's a good story. So I caught the bus from Kamehameha Schools to Jellies in Prokai. Found out that the Project Blowed, which is precursor, of which is Good Life's foundation, which is Freestyle Fellowship's foundation. Project Blowed came out with a full-length album, 2 records, white cover. Came out in Jellies in Prokai. The word came out, so I caught the bus there instantly after school. Boom, got off. There are 2 copies on the wall. I grabbed 2 copies, and I hid one, and I bought one. And that's as a full length because there's not too many Project Blowed MCs. I mean, Volume 10 was mainstream. He got signed, so Volume 10 had singles. AC Alone, but that was before AC Alone. Volume 10, I think maybe around the same time. But I remember taking the 2 off the wall, hiding one and buying one. I wanted to come back and get it, but it was gone, and I came back to get it. I remember that vividly as a full length. And I got back on the bus, went home, and put it on. I'm like, yes, this is great.
That's good.
I mean, I feel bad. Sorry, guys. I bought it, though. I bought it. I bought it. I bought it. Yeah, I didn't do the dollar swap.
First live concert experience for me that I remember, it was with my grandma. It was Loretta Lynn at the Waikiki show.
Wow, that's awesome. Wow, first live concert experience. Okay, so I think for me, I lived in Kapulu at the time, caught the bus to Aloha Tower to watch, I think it was House of Pain in Cypress Hill at Aloha Tower. Yeah, I think it was, yeah. House of Pain opened up for them. Nobody knew who they were. Jump Around wasn't hot yet. Yeah. And Cypress, I forget what was on the bill, though. It was like, I think it was House of Pain, Cypress, and Naughty, I think. No, was it Naughty? No. Was it Naughty? But Urban Joint performed, I think. Yeah, so shout out to Urban Joint. Tease,
and Thad.
Yeah. Magallanes Brothers. Yeah, I think that was the first concert. I wanted to do others, but this one is like, I remember catching the bus, and I've never been to Aloha Tower. I think I went by myself, too, because I couldn't find no one to go with. Because like I said, I didn't know anybody else that liked hip-hop. Like, I really didn't. All my friends in public school, I didn't, there's no cell phones, and I lost contact with them. So I think I seen them at the concert. It's so gray right now. But like in Kamehameha, like, I think it was like my freshman year or something. I didn't know nobody. So I caught the bus at night, went to Aloha Tower, and like, first time at Aloha Tower, I'm like, whoa, what the heck? And that's when 90s is gangs, right? So I'm just this one Hawaiian kid, backpack kid. And I remember being there, and I'm like, yeah, this is what's up, And I went to a bunch of concerts there, dances there, seen fights there. Yeah, definitely. They had dance battles there. I remember they're like dance battles when freestyle dancing was in, right? So, yeah, I think it might have been House of Pain, Cypress Hill.
You remember what year? About
94.
1994.
Yeah, 94. I think is the concert.
Yeah. Concert.
Yeah, that was a concert. Then I remember going to Booyah Tribe Farside at UH. But the Aloha Tower one, the Aloha Tower concert stuck out the most because that was the first time me venturing out past my comfort zone.
Favorite album you'd play right now?
Oh, what do I have on my record player right now? Oh my God! Right now, what is yours?
Well, the album I was looking at this morning was Death Cab for Cutie's Plans.
Oh, nice. I went to a Dashboard Confessional concert here. People were like, "What the hell are you doing here?" I'm like, yeah, I want to go to Dashboard concerts. So I went.
They got some hooky songs. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna be like, like in the front screaming and crying, but I mean, like, yeah, I get it. Like, everybody's killing this guy for being evil, but like, he performs and he's good. Yeah. They're good. So yeah, thank K2H for that. You know, like
Yeah.
I learned from, you know. But anyway, not Dashboard. I actually have I have Postal Service album.
Oh.
So I like Postal Service. Top of the Dome. What am I pulling out? I don't know. I've been looking for a lot of samples lately. So any kind of jazz. I mean, it's so cliche, but yeah, just I've been revisiting old records I've sampled to see what I could redo, re-chop, revisit and challenge myself to, like, even though this record's been picked through, what can you do with something that's already been done, right? You know, because after a while you're like, okay, I don't want to buy anymore. I mean, I always want to buy records, but oh yeah, I like this record for listening, and everybody sampled it already. Maybe I could chop it up. So yeah, I've done that a lot with Miles Davis. A lot of Miles Davis. Quincy Jones. Yeah, I definitely pull out Quincy Jones record. Yeah.
Is it The Dude?
The Dude is one of that's like my favorite. Not he has so many records, but The Dude is. I'll buy a copy of The Dude right now and give it away right after. I'd be like, oh, how much is that copy of The Dude? $3 or whatever. Okay. Hey, do you have this record? Here, take this. I've done it so many times. Like, I've done it so many times. I'm like, oh, there's another copy of The Dude. Like, another Bob James record. Like, how much is it? Okay, I have like 2 copies, 3. I have 3. Oh, I meet somebody. Hey, what's good, Cavett? I got you. Here, take this. The Dude. What? Listen to it. 100 Ways. So many things on there. MF Doom sample. I'll just go down the line. Like, so many good songs, you know. What is the singer of 100 Ways?
James Ingram?
James Ingram all day. So, you know, and I'll go down the line like James Ingram, 100 Ways, Doom sampled it. You know, like, oh.
Yeah.
And I'll literally buy it to give it away. I've done that so many times. Because I feel like it's like our job. Like, it's almost like you do it because you love music, you love records, and you want people to feel.
Okay, and finally, Cavett, the Catalyst. Where are you going after this?
I probably have to go and back to work, but while I'm driving to work, my car might just swerve into a parking lot and look for a hamburger steak and then swerve back out and end up back at work eating at my desk. Yeah, PBSOI is where I'm going to head back to. Yep. And that's where I got to go.